I guess we should introduce ourselves.
So hi, I'm Thaddeus Fine,
And I'm Caleb Young.
and we are doing a director's commentary on Clipshow as these first kind of credits roll.
Did you do these credits?
Yeah, I did.
You did. Wow. What did you use?
Premiere mainly.
Just Premiere.
Just Premiere.
Wow. Well, they look nice.
They look nice. Yeah,
They look quite nice.
I like them.
I do like how they look. I'm ready for some.
I like when it all leaves.
I do like that.
So
Okay.
here's me talking. This prologue bit. It's just kind of funny.
It's funny. It's good because it's you saying you didn't do any of this stuff.
Yeah,
and
which is
you did do it.
I did
that
all
bit
of it.
right there is quite funny because that's Bill Finger.
Yeah, and
Finger's
Bill
very
Finger
funny.
is like one of the key components to comedy I've noticed.
Yeah.
It goes timing, Bill Finger, and not much else.
Yeah.
There's
me.
you. There's
That's
you.
pretty funny. That's Lee.
That's
I mean,
Lee.
that's classic.
There's
comedy.
Pat.
Pat, I would say, is the
Incredible.
main
Yep.
comedic
One of the
force in the
Dylan
world.
Anderson.
Yeah.
Dylan Anderson,
Anderson.
I'd say it goes Patrick, Bill Finger, Dylan Anderson.
So this entire project was kind of funded on this idea, and it's on that famous quote, right?
Yeah.
Where if you dissect a frog,
Yes.
explaining a joke is like
Yes.
dissecting a frog.
And it ruins the joke.
If you dissect a frog, you see all its innards, and that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So this is Messy Gambler. This was,
So
this
that's
was
Quentin.
that's my brother.
Yeah.
It was his idea.
He came up with Messy Gambler all by himself. He
That
just
was
kind of
because
wholesale
we were
for us.
still kind of like on Dogma.
Yeah.
We were still
Yeah.
on that idea, and then
he said Messy Gambler.
and we were like, well, we're running out of time. This seems
I
like
think Messy Gambler was when we had enough individual little ideas that we were like,
yeah,
we
exactly.
Can
we can do a bigger,
do something
fuller
like this.
idea.
I like that shot quite a bit.
I
It
love
doesn't
that
obscure
shot.
Gunner, and I know that that's confused some people, but Gunner is still there, even
Yeah.
if you don't see him. He's there. In
You can
this
see his
shot,
hand
too.
a little bit.
You just have to imagine him,
Yeah.
and that's something. He of course plays P guy.
Yeah, guy with a pea hat.
Yeah,
Which is
it's
kinda
P
fun.
guy, 3 guy, and Lee guy.
Yes.
So that's a bit of a joke.
And
we
Messy
had, just-
guy.
yeah.
Um,
Messy Gambler is sort of the disruptor of the whole. I mean,
Yeah,
look at that.
Look
right
how
there.
funny
Spreading
that
the
is.
chips all around the table. The
um,
thing that's so funny to me about that is how he's spreading the chips.
Yeah.
Just all
all
over
of the table.
And of
All
course,
over
when I
that
say
table.
the Messy Gambler. This part has
Okay.
got to be my favorite part because it's you explaining. There's no reason for you to ever
Yeah,
be
exactly.
explaining this joke.
I really like Messy Gambler in hindsight because I think it's very I think you should leave. It's very
Yeah.
it's kind of SNL-ish in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
We get me explaining the joke, and it just does not take that many people.
It does
to
not
explain
take that
Messy
many
Gambler.
people.
And so it's quite humorous to see
yeah.
all of
Yup.
these people. Because you're going to see there's more people even coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
presumably if you're watching this, you've seen the original video.
I hope you've seen the
I
original.
hope
If you
so.
haven't
You're gonna
seen
be
the
a little
original,
lost.
I'll be a little upset.
But it would be very interesting to see somebody watch this one as their first
Yeah.
one. Just kind of get like a little peek behind the curtain, which is not something you usually get with
No,
our
you
projects.
don't.
We're usually very tight-lipped.
It's kind of fun. I don't think I've ever seen a director's commentary track before with one of these projects.
No. no.
So this is kind of fun.
And I feel you
Rule
and I
3 is one of my
especially
favorite
are.
visual
That's a
gags. I
great
think that
thing.
one's
This is my favorite coming up here. Funny.
funny.
That's good.
Funny.
Because Lee said funny a lot of times.
Yeah, funny is like a well that I just keep going back to in the edit, and I'm
And
quite
it's
proud
very
of this.
good. It's very good. It's very funny.
It's very
it
fun-
says it
yeah,
right
exactly.
on the screen, and that kind of adds a lot. Actually, you think it only adds a little, but
No,
it really
exactly.
does. It does quite a
Exactly.
bit. This whole thing, it's about simplicity, and here I am again. I'm
It's-
playing with
it's
my ring.
over-
I'm playing with my ring
yeah.
now. It's I mean,
All of this Photoshop jobs I think were really fun to do. A lot of cutting
Fantastic.
things out of backgrounds.
I mentioned Jordan Peterson here, and you show an image of Jordan Peterson. I mean, that's beautiful.
I like the one that it's a little bit more stretched out than what you would typically do.
Yeah.
And now we finally
The
get
Messy
to.
Gambler spottings. I mean,
This
that
is real. This happened before we really even.
Well, it happened before we filmed Messy Gambler
Yeah,
because we had to
we
film it twice.
we had to refilm
We had
Messy
to refilm
Gambler.
Messy Gambler because we formatted the. This is one of my favorite parts of the Messy Gambler part. Is just
Yeah.
you can tell Quentin's just having a terrific amount of fun.
Yeah,
with this role,
exactly.
with pretending to have gone method in the role and all that.
I
sort
love all
thing,
of the
you know?
little Instagram captions. I think it's a fun. I love gags where you have to pause to really
Yeah,
like get it, or like that second time around. I think
Yeah.
all of that's really really good.
Seinfeld
2. Oh man, this was a blast to film as well.
It was. This was the first shot
That
we
was
did
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
At least the first one we made.
I think one of the best shots too.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's a really good opener too because we're confined to this room, which is sort of typical and atypical of sitcoms because like you notice it.
I do
more
like the
than
black
you
box
meant to.
though, as
It
this
is
kind
a-
of basic set.
Yeah, it's got.
This is
some
such a good
diversity
one.
to it. That's just a great.
That's just a good one. There's Lee on the piano.
Yeah,
actually
he
can
plays the
play.
piano.
Yeah,
Sure.
actually plays the
Actually
piano.
we had to say do the handstand
Yeah.
badly.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. And
Up
Gunner,
there.
classic Gunner. Love
Gunner's
seeing
always
Gunner.
such a joy to work with on set.
Gunner's
He
one of
always
my
takes
favorite
things
actors.
so seriously.
Yeah.
And
He always understands what he's
Exactly.
doing. Knows.
I've
He's
never
somebody you
seen
don't have to give
someone-
a lot of instructions to.
I've never seen someone so quickly. I love the Friends apartment. That's such a good.
Yeah. And we're shouting at each other. We're yelling.
The steamed hams audio clip to lead into this.
Yeah. And you're going, you're going good. I'm against AI. And then Gunner says, Seinfeld 2, fucker.
Yep, he does. There he is. Lorne Michaels. Produced by Lorne Michaels for some reason. I really
Get
like
some more
this.
you.
I really like this.
We're gonna get the part where you say break format and the
Yes.
format breaks.
Yes. And
That's
I think
really
that's
great. It's coming up right now. Break
well,
format.
well, not yet because we got
Oh, was I wrong?
yeah, we have the
Oh, okay.
Too Many Cooks clip.
Yes, because you're talking about too many
Huge
cooks.
shout out to Too Many Cooks.
So we're seeing too many
Yeah.
cooks. There's a kind of visual and auditory fidelity there that adds.
A lot
adds
of the
quite
thing
bit.
I liked about doing this was breaking format constantly.
Yeah.
Because you constantly
there it
see
is.
the aspect ratio change.
Yeah.
You see, and I think that's fun. It's fun to play around with, and I always get worried, especially with something as broad as experimental, that I'm not
Yeah.
being experimental enough.
But I
But when it
think that
comes to
right
stuff
there-
like that,
Yeah,
you know.
that's quite experimental, and I
Yeah.
really.
Another thing about
Yeah.
Seinfeld too.
So this was recorded in
Was this
post.
the last thing we filmed?
Yes, this was the last thing we
That's
filmed.
the sort of thing that
Because we realized we didn't get anything of Gunner and Lee.
Yep. We had to
Um,
explain it.
Yeah, we had to
So I
explain
made
it.
up this thing about Gunner being addicted to certain things.
Yes.
We don't have to
10,000
discuss what they
estimated.
are.
10,000 estimated Seinfeld.
Which is how many
episodes.
individual items of that certain thing, I won't say it, he did have though. And it's a pretty disgusting thing. But I did make it up. It's not true. Gunner's a great guy.
Gunner's a great guy.
Um,
I took that little bit of context out and I replaced it with the
Yes,
Letterman
with
clip,
the
which I quick
implication.
like, which I quick
Yeah.
quick like
quick slide.
quick.
I guess
Wow.
so,
Okay.
Long day of editing.
It's
today.
been
This
it's
is
been
our rawest thoughts. I figured
Exactly.
that's what, that's probably what people really want. And that's me talking about how Lee was eaten and is dead. And I believe at this point I'm getting.
Don't
onto
Google
Gunner.
fat hyena, by the way. Lot of
Yes, and this right here, that's Michael Richards
Way too much.
apologizing for
Yes.
yelling the N-word at a heckler.
yes.
And not once either.
No,
Many
multiple
Many
times.
times.
Insane how often he did that.
Many times.
At least in
he
that
called
clip.
him true.
Seinfeld too.
I mean, for a lifetime,
Well, if Lee
It's-
was alive, I imagine.
it's a high number, but it's not a shocking number. But for like 2 minutes,
Yeah.
that's a shocking number of times to say the N-word.
Which is funny.
Here I'm riffing off.
And the reason that
Yeah,
it's funny
exactly.
is
And I think I like this because the next bit we get with Lee doesn't say funny at all.
Yeah.
But we get to Mike Hand says funny, and I have to throw it up again.
take Seinfeld and we kind of take this familiar world.
It's that subverting. Here's another globe shot.
Yeah, lots of globes in this one.
I kind of liked that though.
I do
A lot of your impromptu dialogue here is quite good, and it allowed for a lot of that visualization.
That brings us to real
This was all of this stuff was
Real gun.
improvised, by the way. That's our classic real gun shot. Oh, the real gun shot's coming up. I love the real gun. Now, this right here, what you're about to see.
The
that
real
is
gun,
a real gun.
real gun.
Real gun that I'm holding.
So I was really split on what to do for the like I guess the behind the scenes. It is commentary, but this is also commentary.
Yeah. We wouldn't want to confuse you.
No,
with-
exactly,
with that sort of
exactly,
thing.
because we love you, Frank.
We do. I especially.
But I kept taking out. I originally had all of the real guns taken out and then placed at the beginning, so it's just real gun, real gun, real gun, real gun. But I realized that, well, we kept this bit of us cutting, as soon as it's said. And I thought it was really interesting to just, like, keep that cut and just, like, continue it forward. And it creates a lot of these little moments of, like, time skipping. My favorite is when Lee starts saying it, and then we cut, and Lee's, like, crying, laughing a little bit.
Yeah.
It's coming up right here.
It is.
Incredible. I love
Wonderful.
that. I think that's
Wonderful.
incredible. I think that's really, really good.
Yeah.
No, he's just holding a reed.
I do have a real. I did have a real gun.
That was a real gun.
We filmed that at funny enough, Gunner's
Yes.
dad's store. We filmed that in a bathroom.
At A&G Shooting in
Shout out to A&G Shooting.
Shout out
if you
to
ever need
A&G.
a gun or eggs or pinball.
There's pinball there. It's great. It's fantastic. I love going to pinball night. That was a great excuse to go to pinball night and also get that shot done.
Just a bunch of great stuff, great display stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, just a
So
fantastic,
much fun.
reputable vendors. I mean, it's wonderful. I can't speak highly enough of A&G Shooting. Here's me having my
The second cigarette's
cigarette.
great. And if we had, I'm glad in hindsight cutting the behind the scenes of Real Gun 2. Originally, this was going to be way longer. This was going to be 18, 20 minutes.
Probably.
And I spared it with the last one because I thought, one, it kept, like, one bit of comedy pure, which
Yeah.
I thought was quite interesting.
All right.
But also,
We wouldn't want to spoil Real Gun 2.
yeah.
Your dad actually came up with
Real Gun 2. We have an unused interview with my dad.
Yeah, because he was the progenitor, really.
Yeah.
It was me
Yeah,
and him
exactly.
kind of going back and forth, and I think he was the one that first said fake. I think I said fake bullets, but he said something that gave me the
Yeah,
idea
exactly.
of fake bullets. And it was that sort of collaborative, back and forth. Like, how can I make... It's when you make it, it's collaborative, but it's also competitive, right? Somebody says
Yeah.
something, you want to say it in a funny
Exactly.
way, because then you win.
I think this is my
Yeah.
favorite edit. I
Yeah.
love taking my own words and making me look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Um,
It's especially funny.
where
knowing
why
that
the
you did
cans is
that.
really
Yeah.
funny.
You know what haunts me is I say we take sacrifices every time I see it. It's
Oh.
when I light that first cigarette, I say we take sacrifices. And that's terrible because it should be we make
Yeah.
or I don't know what the take would even
Oh,
come from.
that's a great one.
That's a reference to a classic
Oklahoma
video.
Oklahoma style wall. It's so nice to have the wall just kind of. I might just include the wall in everything.
Yeah.
I think it's such a fun. I don't know. I feel like Oklahoma style was the first project I've ever like truly been proud of, and this is a close. This probably usurps. I think this is my best work. That fun fact. That's that photo of you at the bottom of the iceberg.
Yeah.
That's of the picture storyboard we did for Oklahoma style.
Oh, that's
I cut
great.
that. If you look
That's
closely,
great.
there's green screen
That's
behind
very-
you.
That's very good.
Yeah, and now we got
Here's
the
Lee walking down this hallway.
the forever
which-
hallway.
The hallway
shot.
isn't actually that long. We used some deceptive
Yeah.
editing to make it look like.
I love how
you know.
long the hallway is. I
Yeah.
think that's a really
and it gets
fun-
more and more obvious as it goes
Yeah.
on. So you're like, this is never gonna end, and then it's just one shot.
And then bam,
Fake bullets.
fake bullets, clip show.
That's Clipshow.
Goodness.
That's Clipshow.
That's
Well, thank you guys
incredible.
for watching.
Thank you for
guys
watching.
watching the.
I'm
listening to
always,
the commentary.
it's so nice to know that I have such a dedicated fan base in the form of all of my subscribers. And, we're ending with this final shot. Tune in next year, we'll be doing our first anniversary commentary over this. And I think that'll be fantastic. I think that'll be
I
absolutely
can't
great.
believe Gunner did. All
He
the
did
things
puke.
that he did.
He did puke.
We cannot be associated with him anymore.
We cannot be. We
We
cannot
really
be.
can't. It wasn't a joke.
It was not a
That
joke.
stuff he did was awful.
He did do that.